Hello and welcome to Naturally High, the channel that helps you grow your 4A, 4B and especially 4C hair to longer lengths. This video covers 5 ways in which my childhood regimen differed from my current one. If you're anything like me, it wasn't until you were an adult that you realised that black people can grow our hair long. And I mean really long, and I'm not talking about mixed people, I'm talking about black people with black parents. For a long time as a child, I believed that my hair could not grow longer. My hair was always really well maintained. Thank you, Mummy. So I just assumed that its length was due to my genetics and more specifically to my African heritage. Now that we know the extent of the role that hair care plays in length retention, let's dissect some key differences between my childhood regimen and now. But before we do that, I want you to drop your predictions below. What do you think were some hallmarks of my childhood hair care regimen? As a child, something I remember being a key practice was weekly washing with shampoo, conditioning shampoo. And because the shampoo was a conditioning shampoo, we didn't follow up with a conditioner. Nowadays, I have a fortnightly or monthly cleanse with clay or a mild shampoo, followed by a deep conditioning treatment. And every 6 weeks or so, when I'm on top of my regimen, I make sure that I do a hardcore protein treatment as well. Now, everyone's optimal cleansing routine varies, and mine has changed considerably over the years, and then again tends to change based on my style, the country I live in. Lots of you will know that I move countries a lot, and my schedule at the time. Ideally, you want to be cleansing frequently enough that your scalp is clean, but that it's not damaging to your hair or ruining your style, and especially not inconveniencing you either, because if you don't feel good about it, then what is the point? Another thing that I remember from my childhood was the application of grease in the form of Luster's Pink. Drop a comment below if you used that during your childhood or if you use it now. I'm super curious. And the avoidance of water in between wash days. So the only time water would touch my hair was if I was washing it or going swimming. This older practice exists in stark contrast to my current practice of regularly spritzing my hair with water. I tend to do that on evenings and follow up with an oil and a leave-in if necessary. And I also try to take down my style. So if I have my hair in a bun or something, then I'll take that bun down every 5 days or so and really moisturize all of my hair with water, followed by an oil and often a leave-in conditioner and flaxseed gel. Now, this is a touchy subject. There is an ongoing debate about the merits of mineral oil for moisture preservation and scalp health. There are lots of proponents of the use of mineral oil, and I have linked some resources in the comment section below so you can do some reading on this topic yourself if you're curious. What's apparent with my current regimen is that the frequent application of water followed by an oil and often a leave-in has several benefits. It feels more resilient, which translates not only into it being less susceptible to breakage when I handle it, but also when exposed to weathering-inducing factors like the wind and friction between the fibres themselves. It's easier to work with my hair in this way. When I'm handling my hair in a dampened and oily state, there's less friction between the strands, which means that I don't need to manipulate my hair as much to get the look I desire. And if I don't need to manipulate my hair as much, then my hair doesn't suffer as much under my hands, which means that its longevity is increased because the imposed manipulation is lower. It makes my hair feel moisturised for longer. And I think everyone's hair is different, so everyone's interpretation of what their hair feels like when it's moisturised is also different. My hair, when moisturised, feels soft, smooth to the touch, so with that reduced friction. It is stronger, so it is less breakage prone and less brittle, and more malleable. If I ever wore my hair out, my ends would dry out and become hard and brittle over the course of the day. Another staple practice of my childhood regimen was weekly blow drying with a pick after towel drying my hair on wash day. Blow drying is certainly a useful practice for more expedient wash days, and it can enhance your manageability. I have seen several naturals apply regular blow drying into their hair care regimens and yield fantastic results. However, why don't we look more closely at how the blow drying was done during my childhood? So first of all, we would be blow drying my hair right after towel drying it, and you can imagine that it wasn't towel drying and gently wrapping the towel around my hair. It was, you know, towel drying, and then my hair was being blow dried, so heat styled, at the same time as being detangled, and of course in the absence of a heat protectant. Heat protectants have well researched benefits such as the prevention of protein loss from hair, the prevention of water loss from hair, and the protection of the cuticle from chipping. So essentially they mitigate the damage caused by the use of heat tools. Nowadays, I rarely blow dry my hair, but when I do a few things. The first is that I definitely always use a heat protectant, and the second is that I use the tension method. In addition to that, the third thing is that I tend to focus the heat on the roots and not on the ends of my hair. When applied cautiously, blow drying can actually help with length retention as it improves the manageability of your hair. However, I personally don't blow dry my hair often, and this is a major difference between my childhood regimen and my current one. These days I simply moisturise and stretch my hair after gently towel drying it and let it air dry on its own. If you're enjoying this video, then you have my Patreons to thank for that. The support I get from you guys on Patreon allows me to keep my content flowing. So thank you to all of you supporting me on there. Help support my content for as little as $3.99 a month. Something else I remember, and mummy, if you're watching this, feel free to drop a comment below and correct me if I'm not remembering this properly. But something I remember is that my hair would be cane road once per week, often on a Sunday. And I really liked that time. I miss that. Does anybody else miss having their hair styled by a carer once a week? Anyway, the next week we would remove the cane rows, so I would wear the style for a week, and normally we would use not our fingers but actually a comb, so we would just take the comb and just kind of comb the hair out of the style. Nowadays, whenever it's time for me to remove a style from my hair, I will apply oils and water, and I will gently remove the style with my fingers. I tend to take my time with this process. It's all about being gentle and tending to yourself in a kind manner. What I want to highlight here is the difference in the use of combs. So as a child, the comb would be used often. If I was wearing my hair in cane rows, which was most of the time, then my hair would be combed once a week, and if I was wearing my hair in a different style that needed to be changed more often, then it would be combed every day. Combs were a regular part of my regimen, and they not only served to detangle my hair, but also to part it. And there are two major differences between then and now. The first is that I no longer part my hair at all. My hair is parted. I parted my hair last year, and I retained the sections by keeping them either in twists or plaits, or just keeping the roots plaited while my hair was out. And in retaining those sections, I have completely eliminated the need to part my hair. In addition to that, I very rarely use a comb, and I would say that the frequency is around once per year. For me, reducing the frequency with which I comb my hair has been monumental for my length retention. This is because it has overall encouraged me to be gentler. It has brought my attention to the ease with which my hair breaks, so I am more inclined to avoid that by feeling where the knots are and gently prying the hairs apart from one another instead of raking through with a comb and inflicting damage and breakage. In general, it's reconnected me with my hair. I just feel closer to it because I handle it only with my hands, so I touch it and I feel it. And it's allowed me to stop breakage before it happens. A lot of us will associate breakage with styling your hair and seeing that there are wisps of hair falling to the ground, and that's when you know you're damaging it. But actually, the damage can happen much earlier than this. I've spoken about this on my Instagram, so you can go over there and check it out. But essentially, when you style your hair, especially curly hair, it has this tendency to form cracks within the hair fibre. And so your hair may feel healthy, but these cracks will propagate and then eventually lead to breakage. And styling your hair with a comb makes it more likely to sustain such internal damage. Sometimes we wouldn't cane row my hair on a Sunday, and instead we would style my hair every day, and we would use a comb for this process. Now, researchers have likened combing Afro hair to a haircut because the hair length reaches somewhat of a steady state, and I can attest to this from my own experience. I literally believed my hair could not grow longer because it never got longer. But actually my hair was growing and it was just breaking off at the same rate that it was growing because of this frequent use of mechanical tools. In addition, applying a low molecular weight oil such as babassu or coconut a good few hours before washing has also played a large role in helping me retain length. I apply coconut oil before I wash my hair with the aim of reducing cuticular damage, which is caused by the expansion of hair fibres when they absorb water. So the hair fibres swell and then bits of the cuticle chip away. If low molecular weight oil is present in the cortex of the hair, then the cuticle chips less, and so that allows me to retain my cuticles, and having intact cuticles allows me to keep my hair on my head because my hair breaks less. And now I am really curious. Can you tell me what differences there are between your childhood regimen and your current one? And what do you think the results of these differences in your practices are? Let me know in the comment section below. Let's start a discussion and reminisce on our childhoods. And if you loved this video, then check out the extended version with bloopers exclusively on Patreon.